Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz. This Saturday night, Sinaloa, Mexico. Well, Los Montes, Sinaloa, Mexico. We're going to have a tremendous firefight, ladies and gentlemen, in the long storied rivalry between Mexican and Puerto Rican fighters. This one sounds to me like another excellent matchup this Saturday night. Main event live on the Zone. IBF super featherweight title is on the line in this one. Champion from Mexico, from Sinaloa, Mexico. So the champion is going to have a hometown advantage from the crowd. You know, when it comes to the decision, like if this fight was to go decision, you know, it will be in his favor. You know how that is. You know, you fight a champion in their hometown in a close fight, they're gonna give it to the champion most of the time, or a decision. The challenger, many can see the challenger winning, and they go to the scorecards. They're gonna give it to the champion in their hometown. And that happens a lot, unfortunately. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully, if this fight goes to decision, the decision makes sense and it is what it is. But for now, we're just going to keep it at this. Champion Eduardo Nunez from Sinaloa, Mexico. 28-1, 27 knockouts. You heard it correct, ladies and gentlemen. 28-1. 27 knockouts. Yeah. Mr. Eduardo Nunez has missiles in his fists. Bombs in his fists. One of the most dangerous punchers in the sport. And he'll be taking on Puerto Rican veteran fighter who's only, 30 years old. Feels like he's been around longer than that. Two-time world title challenger. Christopher El Pitufo Diaz. And this is a fight between not only Mexico and Puerto Rico, but it's between two of my favorite fighters, one fighter from Mexico and one of my favorite fighters from Puerto Rico. You know, I've always been a fan of Christopher Pitufo Diaz. He's a guy that it's hard not to like him. Very nice person. He's doing this sport for his daughters, to give them a better life. You know, he's come up short in his 2 world title shots, and he's always been an exciting fighter. He bites down on that mouthpiece, he brings it, and he's gonna need to bite down on that mouthpiece yet again against Eduardo Nunez, because it's gonna be another tough battle. And Pitufo Diaz is built for these kind of fights. You know, if you watch his career, he's been in these nip and tuck, all-out brawls with Masayoshi Ito in his first world title shot. And then, of course, the fight with Emmanuel Navarrete. He went out on his shield on that one. So he's all about that, man. He's all about that. And it's good because he's going to need to do it yet again if he wants to have a chance in this fight, to win this fight against Eduardo Nunez, who's a come-forward Mexican warrior, hard puncher, who is dangerous for Diaz, because yes, Diaz hungry, he's only 30, but Diaz has some sure wars, man. He's fought the better competition. We all can agree that Diaz has fought the better competition than what Nunez has fought. But Nunez is coming off, he's world champion coming in. He's coming off a tremendous fight over Masanori Rikishi. And that was a war. And Eduardo Nunez won that fight by decision. You know, these Japanese, they're tough. And they're very good. They can fight their ass off, and Nunez got the win on that one and became IBF champion. The IBF title was vacant. So this is style make fights, and Mexico and Puerto Rico, you know how that is. And based on Diaz's history, man, he's always been into these kind of fights, involved in these kind of fights, action fights, going out on his shield, biting out on his mouthpiece. And Nunez, hard puncher, puts you out with one shot. Comes forward, tough Mexican warrior. So you have all the makings to have a all-out war is Los Mochis, Sinaloa. And the hometown crowd, the hometown kid, the champion, is going to be at home defending his world title. Now, that could be a good thing and a bad thing because the pressure, you're in front of your fans, your family, you don't want to disappoint. So that pressure is never easy. That's one of the hardest fights for any fighter to go through. To fight in your hometown, to fight it at home, to fight in your backyard. Yes, you're at home and this and that, but that pressure is serious. So hopefully Diaz can go in there and hopefully Nunez folds under that pressure. For Diaz's sake. But I don't expect that to happen. I expect a great battle between these two. I think a stoppage is likely here. And if a stoppage is likely, it's going to come from Nunez, man. I mean, I'm kind of scared for Diaz because Nunez is a hard puncher, very hard puncher. There's a highlight reel knockout that Nunez did a couple of years ago where this fighter was going back to the ropes and Nunez ranged, man, with a looping overhand right on the chin. He caught the fighter and the fighter went down flat on his back out. Now, he was not the caliber of a Diaz or a Mastanuri or Kishi or all that, but it just shows the danger of this man, the power he possesses. So, and Diaz he gets hit. And he's like I said, he's all about the action, coming forward, not being cute in there, taking it to these guys. Diaz fights Mexican, so he's gonna be in line to eat one of those shots, and I'm a bit worried, that Diaz eats one of those and falls asleep. Eduardo Nunez is capable of doing that, but I'm also confident at the same time because Diaz, I'm sure he's coming into this fight well prepared, physically, mentally, because he knows, and boxing fans know, like myself, like I'm a Diaz fan, so I know this is his third world title shot. He's got 5 losses coming in here. If Diaz was to go in here and lose, this is likely his last world title opportunity because now he's going to have 6 losses if he loses. He's only 30, but it's hard nowadays. You don't normally have a fighter going out there with 6 losses on the record and keep getting world title shots. Unless you're Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao has 8 losses, but he's a legend, I guess. So that I guess you can let that slide. But yeah, rare occasions you see fighters with so many losses getting in there for a title shot. So yes, Diaz, like I said, he comes to fight, he brings excitement, and he's going to, I'm sure, that's one thing I'm confident in. He's going to bring a hell of a fight to Nunez, and it's going to be a tremendous fight. But can I see him pulling it off? I would love to see it. So far this year, Puerto Rico has 6 world champions: Amanda Serrano, Reina El Chulo Santiago, Xander Zayas, Subriel Matias, Oscar Collazo. Looking for the next world champion. I think that's it. So Amanda Serrano, Oscar Collazo, Reina El Chulo Santiago, Subriel Matias, and Xander Zayas. So we got 5 world champions, 4 male world champions, 1 female world champion. So far Puerto Rico has been on the roll picking up world titles this year in 2025. Hopefully Christopher Pitufo Diaz can continue that momentum for the island and pick up another world title. That's the thing now. Diaz, the pressure is on him to Nunez, the pressure is on Nunez to fight at home, to not disappoint, and the pressure is on Diaz to continue Puerto Rico's momentum in winning and picking up world titles. So far, we've been doing that this year with Subriel Matias and Xander Zayas. And Reine El Chulo Santiago when he went up to Japan and fought Shukichi Iwata to take his title. So Diaz has to continue that momentum. So the pressure is on him for sure to continue that. And it's going to be an uphill battle. But, nothing is impossible in the sport of boxing, anything can happen. You know, Eduardo bleeds like Diaz. He pees like Diaz. He shits like Diaz. You know, the same way, human being at the end of the day. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I always say, anyone with two hands that enters the ring has a chance. I've seen fighters that's supposed to win against fighters that ain't supposed to win, and the fighter that ain't supposed to win knocks them out. I've seen it. What, last year, Alan Sanchez, highly touted prospect, got knocked out with a guy who had a 13-loss record. Flat on his back, KO of the year highlight reel. I mean, yeah, things like that happen. But let's see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. I expect another tremendous fight here between Mexico and Puerto Rico, Eduardo Nunez and Diaz. I expect another tremendous performance by Diaz, going out on Shield, and cause this is it. You know, this is it. I can't see Diaz getting another title shot. You know, and to be honest, Diaz ranked number 15 in the IBF. Henry Moncho Lebron is supposed to get this title shot. Henry Moncho Lebron I think, is ranked number 3. He's ranked much higher. And Lebron and Diaz fought earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, and Lebron won that fight. But Diaz is getting the title shot. Doesn't make any sense, but this is where we're at. So let's see what happens this Saturday night in a tremendous shootout in Sinaloa, Mexico. I'm expecting a great fight, a barn burner, and may the best man win, man. I like Eduardo Nunez, actually. Like I said, is the fight between two of my very best. One of my favorite fighters from Mexico, one of my favorite fighters from Puerto Rico going at it. So as a fan, I'll be nervous. You know, I'm Puerto Rican, so I back up my Puerto Rican fighters, as you all know. So I'm gonna be nervous. You know, very nervous for this fight. But all in all, it's a good fight. Very good fight this weekend. Miracle Boy Boxing. I'm your host, Wilson Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.